I'm Jay Taylor. I'm the editor of a newsletter called Jay Taylor's Gold, Energy&Tech Stocks, and I'm here at the backstage of the virtual Metals Investor Forum, June 18th. I'm here with Ingrid Hibbard. She is the president and CEO of Pelangio Resources. It's a company that I've been following for many years and have gained an additional interest in it once again as she's starting to do some things with her company in Ontario. Pelangio Resources trades in Canada under the symbol PX, and you can buy it as I have down here in the States under the symbol PGXPF. It's got a market cap of just a little under $10 million in Canadian money. It's a story that I'm following with a great deal of interest, so I'm really happy to have Ingrid here with us to catch up on the story. Thanks for joining me, Ingrid.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and nice to talk to you again.
Well, it's good to see you, and you've had a great deal of success in the past with Pelangio, the detour discovery that you did very, very well for your shareholders. You took a little break, and then you went to Ghana, and you've had some success there. The market hasn't paid a lot of attention in a down market, a pretty bleak market for gold exploration companies, but things are picking up now, Ingrid, and in the meantime, what got me really interested in your story again was the fact that you came back to Ontario, where you've had so much success in the past. Talk to us a little bit about, I don't know if you want to start, tell us a little bit about what your plans are in Ghana. You have had some success. You have about 500,000 ounces, I think, that you've outlined on one property. And then you have another one that is maybe more of an elephant-sized target, exciting enough. But then you've got a lot of things in Ontario that I really want you to focus on. But can you talk about what are your plans in Ghana now?
So, yes. We have sort of 5 core projects, the 2 in Ghana and 3 in Canada. So in Ghana, it's been a little bit quieter. We were drilling from 2011 into 2013 and drilled off a 500,000 ounce resource at our Manfo project. And Manfo is a 100 square kilometer land package, 14 kilometers from Newmont's Ahafo mine, which is a 15 million ounce mine. The Sefwi belt is a newer discovered belt in Ghana, but it's sort of got 30 million ounces of gold endowment along that trend. And so we started up with a 9-kilometer geochemical trend. We made 7 discoveries and the resources on 3 of them. But post 2013, continuing to drill off resources, just the more we drilled, the less we were worth. It was starting to be diminishing returns. So if there's anything I've learned from the whole detour experience, it's timing. You have to be doing the right thing during the right time. And when the markets are down like that, it's a good time to be acquiring stuff when other people are throwing in the towel, so to speak. But we did get that resource, so that's a nice way to be coming out. So next, along with the 9-kilometer trend that there is, where we have our resource, there's a parallel. Well, there's a couple parallel trends, but there's one directly west, and so it's been sparsely covered with soil geochemistry. So we're going to infill that as the next program in Africa. So we'll be going to Manfo as the next project in Africa, but that will be after our Ontario project. So Ontario is going to be our nearer term focus. But before we get to Ontario, the elephant property that you were talking about in Ghana is Obuasi. And it's a 284 square kilometer land package. It's directly contiguous. It's right beside AngloGold Ashanti's Obuasi mine. So, when we've been talking in the past, we used to talk about the Obuasi mine as a 30 million ounce mine. But AngloGold spent about $600 million over the last couple of years, which shows you the kind of money that's being spent in Ghana. They spent $600 million doing a redevelopment plan. So that mine had been mined for 100 years and produced 30 million ounces. With their redevelopment, they now call it a 33 million ounce ore body. So that's a mine with 66 million ounces of endowment. And we are directly beside that. We've flown an airborne, and if people want to take a look at our presentation, you can see where we flew the airborne and trace those structures. And we show you the series of chutes next door. And our thesis is, probably one of those chutes comes onto our property. So that's Africa. But the most important news, because what's been most recent, is just in March, before the pandemic, we drilled at Grenfell, and which is 10 kilometers from Kirkland Lake. And we got 314 grams over, yes, I have to remember, 314 grams over 1.75 meters, and a broader interval of 2 grams over 10 meters. So a very nice start. Now, it was in an area where there had been some development work, more exploration work, really. So there'd been a couple done and a couple bulk samples done. So we will be going back there this summer. And we will also be going, so our 3 properties, let me tell you quickly, 3 properties that we're really focusing on in Canada, which is the Grenfell, where we got these high-grade results, and we'll be going back there this summer. Dome West, which is 800 meters from the Dome. So this project ties on to both the Dome, which is still in production, and the Paymaster, a former producer. And we've only drilled 1 hole so far at Dome West. We got 7 veins in it and the proper stratigraphy, so we will be going back there as well. And just recently we got results back from our Dalton property, also in Timmins. So if you remember, Jay, I grew up in Timmins, so having these 2 properties in Timmins is just a lot of fun for me. And to get properties like this 800 meters from the Dome, and the Dalton, which is 1.5 kilometers from the Hollinger, this is a very exciting place to be. And we just got our IP results back. So we've done some MMI, and we have had a series of gold and silver anomalies. Now with the IP, there's 3 targets that are coincident, IP and MMI. So there's 3 targets that we're going to be looking at the Dalton property, 4 targets we're going to be looking at Grenfell, and a couple along that same stratigraphy, where there's a few holes that we're going to be doing at Dome West. So, but there's been a bit of news as well. We just put out a press release, sort of an update press release, because we have a number of properties. If you remember, we acquired a project generator, which had a number of Canadian projects in it, Grenfell being one of them. And they had some ground near our Birch Lake property. Our Birch Lake property is in Red Lake, in the Red Lake district. It's not in Red Lake. It's in the Red Lake district, north of the Springpole deposit. So the Springpole deposit's owned by First Mining. It's about 4.5 million ounces. And so we were able to increase our land package there by 33%. So we've now got a 34 square kilometer land package there. And it's had previous results by a joint venture partner of ours of 34 grams over 10 meters. And it's just north of the Springpole deposit. One of the really exciting things is that First Majestic has just done a funding agreement with First Mining for about $22 million to advance the Springpole deposit. So we know that there's going to be work happening there, just as we've been able to increase the size of our land package. So there's that news. And as well, as part of this project generator, we had acquired an interest in a nickel, copper, cobalt property that was optioned out to Pan Continental. Pan Continental has decided to focus elsewhere, but in order to sell off this property, they had to exercise their option with us. So we now own 1 million shares of PanCon and can follow what they're doing at their Brewer property in South Carolina, which looks quite exciting. And we have a 1% NSR on the deposit, or the Montcalm property, which is next door to the Montcalm mine, which is going to a private company, and they'll be working that. So the project generator allows you to, have some exposure to things that other people are doing to maybe add to your portfolio with no effort.
All right, Ingrid, we're basically out of time already, but there's so much to talk about. You've got so many projects to shoot at. As an investor, what should I be really focused on? Because there's a lot of things, and I'm wondering, you did raise some money, but in this environment, you should be able to raise a lot of money and get things moving very rapidly. You have to move, as they say, make hay when the sun shines. So what should investors be watching, and where should they be focused on most in terms of excitement, in terms of, what might drive your shares so you can raise money and really get to work, because you have so much to shoot at?
So right now we're getting ready to start drilling at Dalton and Grenfell. So, you're drilling coincident IP soil anomalies 1.5 kilometers from the Hollinger. Watch this space. It's early stage, but it's got all the right hallmarks. We're near the Hollinger Fault. We're just 1.5 kilometers from the mine and just north of the Dester Porcupine Fault. Then at Grenfell, well, there's already been bulk samples of over ½ ounce, they're high-grade bulk samples, and we've shown that high-grade potential, and we're going to be going there next. So, we're going to be drilling 2 areas in the in the next few months.
All right, well, you certainly have an awful lot to shoot at, a lot of excitement. I think a $9 million market cap, something like that. A lot of upside if you start hitting some juicy intersections, which I suspect you will. No guarantees ever, but as you say, there's a lot of work that's gone into these properties, and it's not like they're, completely new stories. So I really wish you all the best. 30 seconds to make a concluding remark, if you'd like.
Well, I do think the market is improving. We just completed that financing during COVID, which it was very exciting to try and run around and figure out how you close something during COVID, and it was oversubscribed. So that's telling me that the interest is really coming down to the juniors, and the kind of portfolio we've got is attractive.
Excellent. Well, we'll certainly keep an eye on things, certainly for my subscribers, and I hope a lot of people learn to know your story through this discussion. And follow up on your website, and of course you'll be having, I expect, a lot of news coming out in the next number of months, right? All right, well, all the best. Thank you very much.